Surprise, surprise. I thought Brother Mitchell would be tearing it up tonight. And or Brother Sparks, either one. And I'd gladly right now give it away. Praise the Lord. But I trust the Lord to help us physically and spiritually. I thought Sister Ona was singing that song. Going to be a ground breaking. And I thought one time when we were evangelizing, and we were talking earlier before church and mentioned a pastor's name, and it's back when we first met them, and we was preaching for them there, and there was a singing group in the area, the Crab family, and that was way back when. It kind of feels weird saying that, but that's when all the kids were younger, a lot younger, and the original Crabs was together, and Gerald Crab was still with them, and it was out in a park type area, and a lot of folks sitting around, free admission and all that stuff, but their songs were just, I don't know, just seemed like they just wasn't singing their normal, Crab family style. Old brother Davy Smith, you'd have to know him. Of course, some of you do, but he scares me sometimes. I love him, and I don't know if he'll ever see this or not, but I do love him, and I talked to him just a few days ago. But he got Gerald Crab off to the side, and he said, "Now look," he said, "the songs you're singing is sounding good." He said, "But they're dead as they can be." And he said, "We need something going on in the graveyard around here." Of course, that's when they first come out with that song, something going on in the graveyard like you ain't never seen, and it was definitely different, and but it kind of hit the charts, and Gerald told him, he said, "Man," he said, "they've got me locked up." He said, they've told me I can't really get anything excited going. And Brother Smith said, "Well, I don't know about you," he said, "but we need some life around here." Well, they sung 2 or 3 more songs, and it was still about the same, and all it was about that last song, I think it was, or maybe second to last. Gerald said, "I'm not supposed to do this." He said, "But somebody mentioned a song to me," and he said, "We're going to sing it." And of course, the kids kind of looked at him, and sure enough, they fired up that chord and they sang that song. Old Brother Smith went to hollering and a squalling and kind of put some life into place, And I tell you, sometimes you just got to do the thing that's out of the ordinary. Right. I'm not telling you I totally agree with all that stuff, but at the time, their singing was good, and it's still good, but a lot of things changed. But nonetheless, it kind of got the place stirred up. And, even folks that were sitting in lawn chairs started standing up and kind of getting with the song. And I'm sure Gerald got in trouble after that, but it was worth it. It was worth it. And it kind of livened the place up. But I need some of that ground breaking and shaking tonight. Amen. Huh?
Amen. Sure do, brother. Come on.
I think I'm going to be in granny gear tonight.
Come on.
Brother Jim, that's pulling gear, right? Put her down in low and go.
Come on.
We're going to try to help here. I tell you, I'd like to when the altar call is made, I would like to get down and feel in my soul, Sister Pauline, that somebody got help.
That's right.
I really would.
Yes.
That's, to me, that's the reward of preaching.
That's right.
You preach and you preach and you preach message after message, and more times than not, you just simply have a hard time walking away feeling like somebody got help. But those times when you can walk away, Brother Harold, and know in your soul that somebody got touched, that's worth it. That's the payment right there. It's what it's all about. And so I want to try to help here. Brother Sparks kind of caught me flying by him there. I thought I was going to go by fast enough, but I didn't. And asked me to preach tonight, and I went home and feeling pretty terrible today, and I ain't making a big deal about that, but just feeling rough like everybody else. And I thought, well, I'll go home and get my hour back that I lost last night. And it seemed like I laid down, and the longer I laid there, the worse I felt. And thinking about preaching and couldn't get my mind settled down for trying to think about that. So I just got on up and started looking at some things, and just one of those times when you say, Lord, I don't know what to do or say, but if you'll put me where I need to be, that'll get it done. And so I'm going to try to help you here for just a little bit, make it as quick and painless as possible. Turn with us to the 121st Psalm, Psalm 121, 8 verses there. Read all of them. I got one amen already. Praise God. Hallelujah. If that'll bleed over and kind of get on the other side of the building, even this thing out here. Psalm 121 and verse number 1. The writer said, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Thank God. Thank you for standing. You may be seated if you want to, but you don't have to. Amen. The writer said, I will lift up my eyes. When you look at that, that seems like a very, very feeble movement. When you read that, you know, from sometimes where we are and we read that, we say, man, is that all you got left to do? Is just lift up your eyes?
Come on now.
Now, I don't know about you, but I can lift a hand tonight and say, I have been there not too long ago when that's all I felt like I could do.
Come on.
Hello, come on now.
Come on.
But he said, you see, it makes a difference what you focus your eyes on.
Right.
If we just read where he said, I will lift up mine eyes, we have no idea what he's talking about unless we read on. It does sound and seem like a feeble movement. But he said, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. And we think hills. Okay. But he said, unto the hills from whence cometh my help. So I'm going to tell you something. It makes a difference tonight what you are looking at. Amen. And so, you know, I've been in public schools and I've been on jobs and like everybody else, and it happened more times in school than anywhere else. I'll never forget, you know, you had those guys that I don't know what their malfunction was, but they always had an axe to grind with somebody. And if they caught you, you know, looking at them or, you know, at a glance or whatever, you know, they'd look at you, Brother Rodney, and say, what are you looking at? You know, and then something would rise up in you if you wasn't careful, and you want to tell them exactly what you're looking at. You know? And so, you know, you get something started there, and before you know it, you're in trouble. But that's, you know, and it makes a difference how you say that. You know, what are you looking at? Well, that already sounds like an issue, okay? But when we say, what are you looking at? You see the difference? this particular passage could be said to be a prayer of the Jews in their captivity. And also, it could be them asking for their help, asking for restoration. And if you read it and separate it all, it could almost be like a script. It could almost be like there's two parties here that are talking. Verses 1 and 2 is the person who worships God and speaks in the first two verses when he says, I will lift up mine eyes. My help cometh from the Lord.
Yeah.
Verse number 3 would have been the ministering priest that answers him and says, he will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
Right.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Right.
Oh, hallelujah. And then, to which the worshiper answers that he knows that he that keepeth Israel shall not slumber nor sleep, but he seems to express doubt. You'll find it in verse 4, whether he shall be an object of divine attention.
Helping God.
Oh, come on now. Now, sometimes we find ourselves like children sometimes and just simply want God's attention. And sometimes we do things that normally we would not do just to get his attention. So, verse 5, the priest comes back and says, in conclusion of this psalm, and gives him the most positive assurance of God's favor and protection. Now, this verse 1 said, unto the hills, Jerusalem was on a mountain, and Judea was a mountainous country, and the Jews, in all of their dispersions, if you will, or separations, you might say, turned toward Jerusalem when they offered prayers to God. It was toward that place. And so we are very aware, all of us are very aware that we have an enemy that is trying to bring us into captivity. He has nothing else in mind except to put us in captivity.
Right.
Whether that be through sickness, whether that be through sorrow, whether that be through trouble through our children or our parents or wherever the case is, on our job or school, whatever the situation is, his only objective and mission is to put us in a place where we feel captive.
Right.
Come on now.
That's right.
Might be slow preaching here.
Come on.
Whether in the spirit or the body, either way, he's doing all he can. And sometimes we face things that we can't explain, we can't figure them out. I heard about a man making a statement, and at the time, I totally and 100% disagreed with Bill. He said that some people can get themselves in such a mess that even the Holy Ghost himself can't straighten it out. And at the time, I had a problem with that. I said, there's nothing the Holy Ghost can't straighten out, which is true. But somebody said, you can't tie God's hands, but you can tie God's hands.
That's right.
You can allow yourself to be put in a place and keep and lock the door, so to speak, to the Holy Ghost and entangle yourself in such a mess and not allow Him to help you, and that He cannot straighten it out because we won't let Him straighten it out. Amen. But there seems to be a secret attack that the devil has devised against the people of God.
Right.
If you're saved tonight, you're sanctified, and you're baptized with heaven's Holy Ghost, the devil knows there are some things he can't do to you.
Right. That's right.
But if you let that slip, it's not in my notes here. If you let that slip, and you find yourself in a place that you know better than to be, it's going to be hard for the Holy Ghost to help you until you realize you're not supposed to be there.
Right.
What am I doing here?
God, help him, Lord.
Oh, God.
Help him tonight, God.
Those secret attacks
Lord, help him.
you cannot prepare for
Right.
because you don't know they're coming.
Right. True.
Now, sometimes God deals with us in dreams, or God deals with us through the prophet, or God deals with us in our prayer, and He will warn us sometimes We were talking before church about a certain pastor that had taken a church from another man. You know, not that way. I mean, the first man had moved on and he took his place. Rather, I should have, it didn't sound right the first time. But he was a pastor there, and we went there to preach a revival one winter. And the evangelist quarters was in the church. And we were staying there in the room. The room was in the back of the building. No windows. And I'm going to tell you, when you turned the lights out, it was dark.
Yeah.
And so, sometime up in the hours of the morning, I had the most awful dream I've ever had in my life. I dreamed that I was fighting a black cat with red eyes. I'm telling you, my hair stands up thinking about it. Yeah, come on, you just hadn't been there. It was not good. In the dream, I felt fear. I felt division. I felt defeat. Come on now. Victory didn't look like it was in sight. And I said, my God, what in the world? And in the dream, I saw that pastor at the time. I saw him. And he was trying to fight the same cat in the same building. Come on now. And I'm telling you, I woke up nearly falling out of bed. I had the covers tore up. I was nearly in the floor. And I woke up shaking and sweating. I was tore up. And we got up the next morning. I told the pastor, I said, I had a dream last night. And I told him. He said, my God, preacher, what are you trying to say? I said, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I said, I don't know what's coming, friend, but something is coming. Come on now. And before that revival was over, we both fought that black cat.
Come on now.
Come on now. And long story short, that pastor's not at that church anymore. It's not even a church anymore. Come on now. The cat got in. Hello. Oh, come on now.
Come on now.
Huh? Looking to God for help, which distinguishes the true believer from all other men. You hear me? When we look to God for help, it distinguishes the true believer from all other men. Look at this world. What are they turning to for help? What are they turning to for victory? What are they turning to for relief? Oh, come on now. I know sometimes God don't answer exactly when we think He should by the time, but I'm telling you, He's still God. And when God gets ready, you got to move. Sometimes we get to the place, we feel like we've offered everything we can think of. I've done everything I can do. I don't know what else to do. God's not looking for a thing. He's not looking for something else. He simply wants us.
Yes, that's all.
Huh?
Come on now.
When all that's left to offer is you, that's what God's looking for anyway.
Amen. Help us, God. Help us, God.
We finally get to the place where we don't know what else to do. We've been beat down so hard and beat down so bad. We get to the place the writer is talking about. I will lift up my eyes. Sometimes we're walking with our head to the ground, and all we can see is the rough road ahead. And I know that when we get to that place, we don't even have the strength to lift up our eyes. And we're looking at the ground, we're looking at the rough things, we're looking at everything that surrounds us. And we don't have the answers for the things that are coming at us. Somebody said, God's not even looking my way. Really? The 34th Psalm, verse 15 said, the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and His ears are open to their cry. So go and be with the naysayers that says God's not looking your way. When the devil says God's not watching you, He's not looking over you. The greatest time to look up is when there's nothing else you can do. God help us. 2 Chronicles 20, we find the children of Moab and the children of Ammon coming against Jehoshaphat in battle. Very familiar story. He gets this report that they're on their way and they're fearfully close. But Jehoshaphat proclaims a fast and goes to prayer. Now I want you to notice, if you read that, He didn't do it by himself.
Come on now.
He proclaimed a fast.
Yes.
And everybody fasted. And everybody went to prayer.
That's right.
I believe to my soul in this hour we live, if everybody would go to fasting and everybody would go to prayer, we would see revival.
Right.
We would see a shaking in the graveyard. We would see something taking place like we ain't never seen before. But the only way it's going to happen is to lift our eyes to the hills and fast and pray. It's an old message, but it's still true.
That's right.
2 Chronicles 20 verse 4, and Judah gathered themselves together to ask of the Lord, to ask help of the Lord. Even at all the cities of Judah, they came to seek the Lord. Verse 12. Oh, our God, Jehoshaphat's praying. I want you to listen to this prayer. He didn't know what to do. Enemy was coming. He had everybody there with him. He said, oh, our God, wilt thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us, neither know we what to do. But our eyes are upon thee. You're going to help me a few minutes here. And all Judah stood before the Lord with their little ones, their wives, and their children. Come on now. I'm talking about a whole company of people standing together. Hey, and then verse 14 said, then upon, I love this, I'm telling you, here you've got a prophet, a man of God that's caused his people to pray and fast, and now he's petitioned God and told the Lord what situation they're in. I know God already knew, but the man was praying. You know how we are sometimes. We start telling the Lord what the problem is. We act like he don't know, but he knows. But because we're human, we start telling him the trouble. But this is what I like here. Then upon Jehaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jael, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, came the Spirit of the Lord in the midst of the congregation. And he said, hearken, ye all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat, thus saith the Lord unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. If ye pray and ye fast, God will show up in the midst. Oh, yeah. I stand today with my wife, my children, telling God that I need help. How about you?
Yes, amen.
Yeah. And I know sometimes when we do that, we feel like we stand alone. Children are not where they need to be sometimes, you may think. Others are not where you think they ought to be. But it still doesn't change the fact that the writer said, I'll lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. For my help. What are you looking at tonight?
Right.
What are you looking at?
God, help Lord Jesus.
Are you looking at financial situations? Are you looking at physical situations? You see, the devil has a way of magnifying something that seems so small and making it seem so large.
That's right. That's right.
Come on now.
You are right.
Just for example, my situation that I'm dealing with physically does not affect the rest of you like it affects me.
God, help us, Jesus.
It doesn't seem like a big deal to you, but to me, it feels like a mountain.
God, help us, Jesus.
Because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do to change it. There's nothing I can do to bring relief. I'm just having to deal with it. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. It's a mountain.
That's right.
You're dealing with things that affects you. That doesn't seem that big of a deal to me. Oh, come on, let's just face it. That's the way things are. We look at each other's circumstances different because they're not ours.
That's right. God, help us, Jesus.
But those things don't move God. He sees the end. He saw the past. He sees the present. He sees the future.
That's right. Yes, He does.
He's got the answer.
Yes, He does.
I said He's got the answer.
Right.
Come on now. You call folks out of desperation to pray. Brother Sparks is praying. Sister Sparks, Brother Mitchell, family, church is praying. I called Brother Bradley Brock one day. So sick. I mean sick, scared and sick. I said, have your grandma to pray. I need some help. I was praying myself. I wasn't asking everybody else to do it. I was doing it too.
Yeah.
I told you about it before, but in the wee hours of the night, my phone went off. I didn't hear it, but I saw it. It lit up the room. And I picked it up, and it was from him. And I read to you here one night what he said to me. He told me later, he said, I was going to just call you and tell you that. I said, it was the hand of God that you didn't. I said, because day after day I had got that phone and I had pulled that text message up and said, devil, you can see this just as well as I can. The Holy Ghost said, I see you, I'm going to move for you, and you're going to come through it. Come on now. Oh, Sister Pauline, I've had to pull it up and show the devil what he said, what God said. And can I tell you, if I couldn't have been able to do that, I probably wouldn't have pulled through some days.
Come on now.
And that don't affect you. But man, it did me.
Yes, Lord. Help us, Lord.
So here I stand with my wife and my children.
God, help us, Jesus.
And I'm going to tell you, help is what I need. Can I tell you that? A greater force is what I need. I don't just need a little tickling going up and down my spine. I don't need goosebumps giving birth to goosebumps. I don't need just a little shaking of my foot. I don't need just to run around the church. You're going to help me here a minute. I need a move of the Holy Ghost. I need something that'll stir me inside. Something that'll move me down deep. But before I can get it, I've got to change what I'm looking at. I've got to quit looking at the circumstance and look to the hills.
Right. You're preaching right. You're preaching right.
I know.
You're preaching right. You're preaching right.
God, help us, Lord.
How many knows that when God undertakes for His people, He makes very short work of the devil's plans?
Come on. Right.
You know what I'm just glad of, Brother Rodman? I'm glad God's in control.
Right.
I know. Sometimes it don't seem like He is. And I've told this story here before, but it's been so long, and we're getting older, and I know you probably forgot it. So I'm going to tell you again. A preacher was fascinated by eagles, and he took a trip to a far place to study them, somewhere out in the mountains, where the eagles were a lot. And so he was with a guide. And this particular week, Brother Ralph, they was on a cliffside, looking across to the other side with binoculars and different things, watching this one nest of a mother with her eaglets. And the reason they were watching her was because it was getting close for the time that those eaglets were going to have to be knocked out to fly. And so there they were, watching day after day. And a few times through the day, the mama would take some of the soft stuff out, the feathers and the soft mossy stuff that she had built the nest on. And she started pushing that stuff out. Well, the preacher knew and the guide knew that what she was doing was uncovering the thorns that she had lined in the bottom of that nest. Because when she got all the soft stuff out of there, she knew that the eaglets would be wanting to get out of there. It wasn't going to be comfortable anymore. And they was watching this across this crevice, and down in between between where they were and where the eagles were was they described it as hundreds and hundreds of feet sheer drop to rocks below. Just a cliffside on both sides with nothing but rock at the bottom. And on one particular day, they were watching, and sure enough, it got too rough for the little ones, and they had hopped up on the side of the big nest. And that mother took one of them, took that big beak, and just knocked him off. And he went flailing and flying and flapping his wings, Brother Mitchell, trying to catch the air, trying to understand what it took to fly. But all the time he was doing nothing but falling. At the best he could do, he was just falling. Amen. And they took a look at the mama. And Mama was flying toward the sun, straight toward the sun. She had done flipped her eyelids across and was flying straight toward the sun. And the preacher looked at the eaglet, and then he looked up at the mama, and he said, "My God, she's going to let him die." And he was falling and falling and falling. And as he was watching the little guy go down, knowing that just any second he was going to dash himself to pieces, out of nowhere came the mama and swooped under and picked him up and carried him back to the nest and set him on the edge. And that preacher put his binoculars down, and he said, "Great was the day when I realized that God can fly faster than I can fall." Can I tell you tonight, you're not in control, but God's in control. And when it looks like that's not an answer, and it looks like God's not listening, He'll come out of nowhere.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. Come on.
God, help us, Lord
Hallelujah.
Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Can you imagine what heaven says and some of the things we do when we get in trouble?
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
I'll tell you what heaven probably says. The same thing that my mother, my in-laws said about us when we were younger, just getting started. It's the same thing that their parents said about them when they got started.
Yeah.
What are they thinking?
Right.
Well, now, I'm nearly pulling my hair out sometime already. The wedding is just 50-something days away. And I'm pulling my hair out at some of the decisions that's been made. Well, now, I love them both dearly. I'm not losing a daughter. I'm gaining a son. He's a good boy. That ain't what I'm saying. But already it's like, what were you thinking?
Right. That's right. Yes. Yep.
I mentioned it to him. He had a Chevrolet truck. Die-hard Chevrolet. It was a little rusty. He drove it up here several times. He decided he wanted something else.
Yeah.
So he traded it all. Wind up with a big old fat fancy payment. And it's not even a Chevrolet. I said, "Son." Kind of sounded like my father-in-law years ago. "What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?" Bethany, I love her so much. She had to have Mama's little red car. Oh, I hate this little old blue car. I hate this thing. I hate this thing. I could have got my feelings hurt, Brother Jim, because I bought it, and I dressed it up, and I fixed it up, and I gave it to her. She didn't give me nothing for it. I might have got a hug out of the deal. I'm not sure. Oh, I drove it to work before she got her license for a long time. Never had the first little, but when she started driving, every little creak and every little bump and every little thump and every little thing that went wrong, I hate this car. I want Mama's car. So she traded it in the deal and winds up with a payment. I'm like, what are you? I said all that not to embarrass her or Brother Jake. He's not even here. Yeah, the car's paid for now, but so that's a, you know. But I said all that to say that God looks at us, no doubt, the same way.
Right.
I know for a fact, I'm going to talk about me for just a minute here, and I'm going to close. Been up too long. I know for a fact, Brother Bill, that if he could have looked at me, he would have said in the past, not too long ago, he'd have said, son, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he probably did try to say that to me, but you know what? I was too busy making my own decisions. I wasn't listening.
Help us, God.
Y'all with me tonight?
Right.
I didn't think it would get very high. Pitiful preaching, I know.
Good.
Pitiful, sorry, preacher.
You're talking to us. You're talking to us.
What does he say about us?
God, help us, Jesus.
And you know what bothers me worse than anything? Is we pack this Bible, especially those of us that's been raised in church. We pack this Bible, Brother Danny, and on the back of it says, Holy Bible.
Yeah.
Right? And we have been taught and raised the things that are in it. But can I tell you, if the devil could make you believe that some of the things in there, some of the things you've been taught, if he can make you believe that those things are not necessary, he'll send you to hell.
Right. Right.
Yes, he
Right.
will.
Right.
Yes, he will. God.
Yes, he will.
I realize just because Mom and Daddy says that's the way you're supposed to do it, don't make it gospel. I realize you've got to get it for yourself, but it's in there.
Right.
And if God don't get the chance, and we don't slow down enough here for God to stop us and say, what are you thinking? On Judgment Day, he's going to look at us and say, what word you thinking?
Yes.
You understand? Mama, get myself in trouble here. We can't fight this battle alone, folks.
God, help us, Jesus.
Can I ask you something? This is a loaded question, probably. Not a person in the building could probably not. How many is tired of the struggle and the fight?
Oh, bless
Now, I'm not talking about tired enough that you want to quit.
you. No.
I'm talking about how many are weary and tired.
We're
Come on now.
Amen.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, you feel like your face is on the ground, you've been beat down, kicked down, knocked down, and sometimes it's because somebody else put you there, but sometimes we're to blame.
Right.
God help us tonight. Help us. Jehoshaphat said,
Help us, Jesus.
we don't know what to do.
God, help us, Jesus. Help us, God.
How many times could a pastor throw up his hands and say, I don't know what to do? What? You got all the answers. Pastor's got all the answers. I'm telling you right now, the pastor does not have all the answers. You know how I know that? I've done it just enough to get me in trouble enough to know that you don't have all the answers.
No.
Pastor's human just like everybody else. And the same God that speaks to him is the same God that speaks to the congregation.
Right.
And can I tell you, if there's a problem in the church, I preached this when I was pastor. If there's a problem in the church, who's God going to come and ask first?
Put your hand,
He's going to come to that pastor
put your hand like this.
and talk to him first.
Both hands.
And he's going to give that pastor the message
Yes.
or the instruction. Hello, come on.
Right.
I'm in trouble here. How did I get
Help
here?
us, Jesus.
Come on now.
Huh?
Good.
Help us, Lord. Help us, Lord. Help us, Jesus. Help us,
You
Jesus.
can't give up on your children.
No.
You can't give on your family.
No.
It's not saved. You can't give up on them.
God, help us, Jesus.
Huh? And sometimes you feel like you don't know what else to do. What are you looking at tonight?
God, help us.
Are you looking at how deep they are in sin? Are you looking at how far they are from God? Or are you lifting up your eyes into the hills? are you going to do? There's only one way out of it. Let's turn it over to Jesus. He can work it out. He can work it out. We want revival. We say we do. We say we want it. Our vocal cords vibrate and we say the words. But are we doing what Jehoshaphat did in his desperate moment when the enemy was close? And can I tell you that if they hadn't got a hold of, listen, if they hadn't got a hold of God and the Spirit of God moved on those men and spoke and said, the battle's not yours and there's no need for you to fight, if they hadn't got a hold of God, can I tell you that enemy would have annihilated them? Yeah. They wouldn't have had a chance. But God showed up. The Spirit of the Lord moved. I like the very first few verses of the Bible just as good as the rest of them. In the whole book, just about it. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. That's pretty bad, ain't it? But the next verse says, but the Spirit of the Lord moved. And look what happened after that. If that same breath that moved then would move in this congregation right now, my, what meeting we could have. Right? Come on now. They're coming to get us a song. I'm sorry for pitiful preaching. I really am. But I really would like to know in my heart that somebody got it. Not from the fantastic, awesome delivery, but from something in the message that pricked your heart and said, you know what? I believe I can go another day. But I first got to look to the hills. What are you looking at tonight? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? You know, I'm not a very patient man, but I'm more patient than I used to be. Come on now. I'm more patient than I used to be, Brother Jim. Because God has put me in the place, Brother Mitchell, I had to wait. There was nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, nothing else could happen. I had to wait. And so the hard way, He taught me a little patience. It's not my virtue. I don't have it mastered.
Oh, God, help us, Lord, help us, Lord.
I started working for a man some years back. He'd been raised in a Pentecostal Holiness church. Matter of fact, he'd been raised in the church that my cousin now pastors in Connersville. His family was raised there. He married a girl out of the church. He's married for a while. They divorced. He married somebody else. Moved completely to a different state. Started his own business. I started working for him. The very day that I went and met with him about the job, I shook hands with him. And when I shook hands with him and looked in his eyes and he looked at me, the very first thing he said to me was, the first thing I want you to know is everything happens for a reason. I thought that was a little strange. And I've heard it before, but it just seemed like the way he said it. Everything happens for a reason. And from that time on, it just seems like you look back at the things that have already happened, and then you look at the things that took place after it happened. You think, yeah, I see now why it happened like it did. So sometimes we feel like we got this thing figured out and we got the tiger by the tail. We got all the answers. know somebody that does. How about you? We just got to trust Him. We just got to trust Him. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I have no idea. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow. Can we stand tonight? God bless you. I hope something been said to help you. Certainly not to hurt you, but to encourage you, challenge you, and make you feel like praying, make you feel like turning it over to Jesus. Why don't you come? Whatever the case may be, whatever the circumstances are, let's come. Find us a place.